Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have the Aclaro panel with us. And Ted, these gentlemen on our screen today are going to be sharing a few stories, some specific, some relatable, and some slightly painful ones at that.
What a great team, Sarah. You're so right. Welcome to Aclaro.ai. I want to introduce the folks who are on the screen, um, not in any particular order. Jim Goldsmith, who is OEM warranty expert, 30 plus years in the industry, a former BMW warranty group leader. Victor is here with us, Delgado. He ran service and parts for some large dealership groups. Howard Blumstein, good friend of ours in the industry, knows dealerships, has that legendary Rolodex that's so important. Uh, Bill Russo, the DMS god, is with us. Bill, welcome. Carlos, good to see you, my friend. Carlos does the AI math. He'll take us through that today. And I think I've covered everybody, Sarah, except perhaps you and I. So with that, let's get rolling.
Well, to kick things off, I want to come over to Victor first because I understand, in the interest for our audience today, these stories that you're going to help share with everyone. I know there's a specific one where you were describing a little bit about how when you were running a dealership and we're telling the dealership certain metrics and we're talking to your 20 group. There were those benchmarks on the wall, but reality looked a little bit different. So could you share with us a little bit more about that?
Certainly, certainly. When we look at growth in a dealership, we look at how much money we're bringing in, but sometimes we don't know what we're bringing in or how we're bringing it in. So normally we want to set up our matrices to give us X amount of number, and we hope that those get actually reflected back on the financial statement and eventually pay plans, right? And grows and that. But I could swear on a stack of Bibles that I could go 75%. I'm making up 75% markup across the board. Well, on paper, yes. But when you start looking at the detail, then it's a whole different story. And that's the beauty of the data. You have things that are making more than that and things that are making a lot less. You have people with fingers that are discounting here and there or improper settings in the system. And before you know it, you're giving stuff at cost, very precious dollars invested by the dealership, and you're giving them away at cost because nobody's looking at the data. And when now you're talking to a dealer 20 group or you're sitting in front of the GM with all of the other managers, and this comes out, oof, bring your head down and open a hole, and hopefully it's big enough to crawl into it. So, yes, it is a big problem if we cannot see the data.
Bill, I want to come to you with a follow up because as Ted mentioned, DMS God is your title here, and that is I can tell this is a title that you did not earn lightly. This is something that's also very important in this perspective. So, how are you seeing some of these kinds of stories where, as Victor was describing, maybe it wasn't totally accurate on the P&L page, but there's some more stuff going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, so the DMS is really the single source of truth for a dealership. That's a dealer management system. The accounting system is really just a bookkeeping system, and it has a financial statement. So the to approach being able to deal with data in a quality way, we have to really look at the underlying settings and the setups and the configuration of the dealership. Often there are setups that are done that remain in place for literally years until somebody finds them. And this particular product that we're offering, this is a big hole in seeing and getting your rates up is the effect of the setups on the rate. So that is really a core part of it. When the manufacturer approves any labor rate increase or parts markup increase, they want documentation, and their documentation, final documentation, is usually the PDF or the repair order copies that they could visually look at. but a lot gets lost in between that we are able to identify and able to really apply our AI to. AI needs a huge data set and it needs clean data. So data hygiene for us is of paramount importance, and understanding the data structures within the DMS is very important.
And Carlos, what historically has happened in the experience that Victor and Bill are describing, and some of these more traditional and in some cases very dated process maps and pieces that dealerships are going through. How does this apply now with what you've built on the AI side?
Well, I've been in AI for about 30 years, so I've been through early 80s, so I go back a long time. And we came back into the AI world about late 2019 or something along the lines. And when you look at the problems that Victor refers to, they are simple optimization problems. There's a math problem. So we look at the problem as what's going on with the data? Where are we peaking on the data? Where are we filtering the data properly so we can come up with the best optimal number? So, I can get very geeky at that, but at the end is, how do we look at the data and think of your climbing a mountain? When do you get to the peak? And you say, okay, we're here. This is the best solution that we have. And when you think about the number of times you do this, and this is what computers are so fast, so good at this, is we run thousands of optimizations. We run thousands of just changes to see how it fits, how it will pass. And at the end, it needs to pass muster with the OEM. So this, you don't make this up. The data, what we provide is data driven. And sometimes, as Victor says, there are kind of ugly things out there. We think this is number and the data shows this, and you have this very bad discussion with the fixed operation director, VP, and saying, hey, you're giving away the farm. And those are ugly discussions and we're trying to get ahead of that. And there was some great products coming to that to help the managers to run their day to day with, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong?
I want to come to you, Victor, a little bit on some of the, if you will, horror stories that have happened in our industry. Victor, first, tell us a little bit about, I guess, what you call the phantom margin, if you will.
Well, you have these consultants that come into dealerships. And of course, the GM or owners believe these guys because they may have hundreds of follow through. But when they come in and they offer these things, you say, yeah, great, let's do what they say. Let's change some of these settings in the system. And now I'm going to jump another 20% of my growth. Well, little do they know that all the effects that are happening on the part side may be controlled by options and situations on the service side. If you have a menu pricing usually is a fixed price. You're done with that price, and a lot of times the lower portion of the gross goes to the parts department, even though you may be putting a lot of this stuff in there. On the other side, you may trigger happy people that want to increase the growth. So they make all these changes or reduce because they have a buddy that wants to reduce the ticket somehow so they can get it sold. So when you don't look at these exceptions and these overrides, you think you're making the world, you're getting diamonds when you're actually getting glass, because it's not really what you're working for. You do the settings, you expect them to follow through. And again, someone was there 20 years ago, or they just got onto this DMS, and they usually have a set of default setting. And unless you know where to look, unless you know what they do, unless you know the impact, guess what? You're working on 40, 50-year-old history, or whoever the parts manager was 6 years ago, 10 years ago. So yes, you can find out that some of your possibly better gross parts are being given away at a very low percentage, which eventually is going to affect your impact when you're doing a parts markup increase, because that's what they need to look at. What is the traffic paying? If we're overriding it low, we don't fix the data. It is what it is. I mean, whatever they do is what we show them. Like Carlos mentioned, there may be some discussions there they may not like, but we're not creating it. We're simply showing it. And it is hard if you think that you're doing great and then the data shows totally different.
Jim Goldsmith, let me come to you. Jim, tell us a little bit more about what the OEM actually sees.
I think one of the things that was most surprising to me in a way when I was head of warranty at BMW of North America was how often the posted door rate was not being achieved by the dealer. You know, they were well below because service advisors were discounting excessively, and all of a sudden, and they think they're at that door rate. In reality, before they even get started, they're well below it. They don't realize it. And then they want to make a submission to the warranty department. And then when we audit it, they're already, you know, in the hole. And then we're seeing, you know, the wrong labor ops, bad math, missing ROs, and they're just starting way behind just to begin with. And they really hurt themselves a lot doing that. And that was really surprising. So, you know, that's one of the things that we can offer is that we can help, you know, dealers see some of these things and point it out to them and make a better submission.
I'm already seeing and feeling the experience on this panel and how you're coming at it from several angles. Bill, tell us a little bit about the DMS black box, if you will.
Okay, so the DMS is maybe more of a black hole than a black box, but because the different departments, as you know, dealerships have variable and fixed operations. Within fixed, you have service, you have parts, you may have body, but primarily between service and parts, there is a big disconnect in terms of their objectives sometimes. So as this black box, and you know, I've put together lots of software for many of the top DMS providers, and I had the DMS which I sold back in the 90s. We really looked at the integration between parts and service because they're working towards a common goal. So when you have situations where a service department wants to take a menu, let's say, and put a $300 menu item and maybe stick 250 of the labor and 50 of the parts, parts really gets hurt on that. But service sometimes is the one that's setting up the menus, and you don't have the setup. So taking the silos of service and parts and the settings and being able to explain them to the managers in the respective departments at the fixed ops director level, that person may know. But a lot of times the parts managers just stocking inventory and filling stock orders and got his setups done. And the service department is just the one working with the customer. So that kind of tells a story why we've got to look at this in a holistic approach, but still maintain their silos because they really don't want to learn each other's businesses.
Yep. In many cases, exactly like you said. Carlos, let me come to you. Tell us a little bit about optimization, what you call the optimization bomb, if you will.
The optimization bomb. I mean, just going back to the discussion that we started on the black holes. We optimize data as the data comes across. And what we have found, a lot of surprises where somebody specs, probably the biggest one that happened to me, and it was a big number. There was a parts markup. It was 59%. The data show 59%. And you can't mess with data. As Jim knows, the data is the data, and you're going to be measuring that data. We took that number 59 to 77%. We optimized. We got it really nice. We're super happy with ourselves. Then we go and talk to the head of fixed ops, who's a fairly large customer. And he looks at us and says, why would I want to file for 77 when I'm already getting 75? And we all went, well, the reason you think you're getting 75, you're at 59. And that is a big issue. That is a big issue. And that drives some of the new products we're working on is the ability to provide an AI agent to give to the operators, people working, the fixed ops director, the director, parts, or just a parts manager. How am I doing? You're literally asking the data, how am I doing? And as near real time, so we can get data every week, we can tell you what's happening. We can tell you when things are not moving around. So you can correct way before you do the optimization. So optimizations are easy if the data is clean and everything's fine. And it's just a math problem. The ability to keep everything on the line and making sure we don't have surprises, to us, is huge, because we want to be an agent of change. We want to help. This is not something that you can go and say, see, you screwed up. There's a problem here. That's a bad way to present the data. The present that every week you can go and say, how am I doing? Oh, you have Joe over here doing very well. They have this new employee over here doing something else. And look at this. You got so-and-so works at a Kia store. He works over here sometimes, and he's booking all the Chevy jobs as Kia. Now, that's a problem because you're mixing apples and oranges, but you want to get ahead. Before the Chevy guy said, what's going on here? When the financial statement looks all screwed up. So that is what we do. We use the data and the new technology and a friendly agent. Think of a ChatGPT bot that says, hey, how's it going? How am I doing? And it will come back with answers that they're not confrontational. They're basically giving you some feedback of how to improve. You should do this. Look at this. You're setting right. So it becomes a way to enable the people behind the counter to get better. Because I don't think they mean to do something stupid. It just happens.
We're here today with Aclaro.ai and Ted. This panel, lots and lots of experience, lots of great takeaways for our dealer audience today. Carlos, I want to come back again on the AI component, because Ted and I at the Fixed Ops Roundtable and across the industry, AI, it's no secret, this is the word probably of last year and this year. It's everywhere. We're hearing AI in all of these different components and facets of the dealership. But for our service and parts directors listening and our dealer leadership that's listening today, that can sound very daunting in this entire ecosystem. And I know, from the DMS and the CRM side of the equation, dealers are already, when they go and they run a report and you're trying to get one data set and you see 15 different options to run the same type of data and understanding those intricacies. And then Carlos, here you are describing, I'm going to have this conversation with my AI and I'm going to get that information that I'm seeking and it's going to be accurate. So help us, really walk us through what AI actually does in this environment and help us demystify it.
That's a great question, Sarah. The big thing here, guys, think of pieces of knowledge. So we take, you take the OEM manuals that say, hey, this is what we accept, we're going to accept. Then you look at the state rules. State you can do this and you do something else. So we basically have a way to read the intent of what is being done in the car and come up with a decision and say, yeah, that's a repair because of this. There's no magic to it. It's just we happen to have trained the system. Think of a very smart tech that says, hey, Junior, this is what should be called. It's maintenance. It's 30,000 miles. It reads what is supposed to have been happening. And then we start classifying it and say, does that violate the rules that the OEM has? And it's just all behind the scenes. And it says, okay, no, it doesn't. How does that look with the state? And again, we take the state statute and we convert it into a math model for our practical purposes. And we use it to balance things up. And we just, at the end, we ask the question, is this thing a repair or maintenance? And the reason why? And then you can say is defined because the statute says this, the OEM says something else, past practice has been like this. So it just helps the system to take all this knowledge. We take all this knowledge and we put it in a piece of software and we ask questions about it. So it's if you all have used ChatGPT and say, what's the best movie? It's kind of the same thing. It takes the knowledge and it makes it accessible. And the best thing, the thing that really excites me is And I can see the whole idea of reports. Reports are daunting. They're just difficult to read.
Yeah.
An Excel spreadsheet. You do a pivot and you just spend hours trying to understand. So how about if we just say, hey, how is Joe doing in this particular set of parts? Are tires killing me? You can ask that question. Are tires killing me? No, you're not, because you haven't the right source, so you should be fine. If today we're running an audit, for submission, what will my
Yes.
numbers look like? Boom, there they are. And you can say, how can I improve? Oh, you can do X, Y, and Z. And we're using facts. And the other thing is really exciting to me is that they're learning systems. And you'll see how we started here and we move a little higher and a little higher. We keep adding knowledge, building knowledge. When we see a hole that we don't know about it, we got to figure that out. If you really want to get into brass tacks, Florida has a very clear rules for maintenance and repairs. Illinois doesn't. So we see the discrepancy. So how do we fix the holes? How do we make it better so that we don't have a discussion with a manufacturer, an OEM that said we're doing something wrong? We have yet to be told, hey, you guys are completely missing stuff. And when we have an issue, we fix it. So it's all about capturing the knowledge and present the knowledge in a way that makes sense and not via a report. It's just a simple conversation.
Gentlemen, if I may, let's address some of the fears that are out there. And Jim Goldsmith, I'll come to you. First one I want to address, if you would. The OEM is going to come after us, Jim.
Yeah, that is actually a very real fear.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I'm not going to get my allocation. You know what's going to happen. So,
yeah, it's a real fear, but it's not. I always try to put them at ease because, just from my own experience, that's not the case. No one's looking to audit you for asking for your statutory right. And by and large, the OEMs do, I can't speak for all of them, obviously, but, they do want to make sure that everyone's compensated fairly. Having said that, the other part of it is it's sort of like doing your taxes. If you only do it once or twice a year, you're really not sure what you're doing, where the OEM is doing it every day. So they're afraid of making a mistake, and they're afraid of looking bad in front of their management. Sometimes the GM has to sign off, or the dealer principal, and they ask for a certain rate and it comes back with something different, and they have a little bit of egg on their face. So, those are all natural fears. But that's why that's the first thing we really try to address, is to calm people down and say, this is how it works, and this is what we can do to help you in that area.
Jim, you're so right. It's the dealer's right to be able to do that. It's governed by the statutes. The OEMs are professionals at doing this. Bill, the next fear, if I may come to you, I don't trust the data. What would you say to that?
That question is really something that points more to, I don't trust how I am presenting the data. The data is the data, and the reporting that people are able to use are in two categories usually. Canned reports on the dealer management system, which for effective labor rate and parts markup percentage are very hard to use. And there's reporting that people create themselves. So the biggest problem that we see with users is they create reports and they are not doing the right filtering. They're not filtering everything.
Sure.
To give you an example, if you can take repairs that are employee discounts, they may not be using the right filter to filter employee discounts out. So that's why what we do is we have to practice, again, data hygiene, to normalize the data, standardize the data, so that the LLMs, large language models for the AI, can build a story from the data that is a true story, not based off of somebody's report that is wrong. And one of the biggest problems is in the reporting is a lot of people they can write a report on their dealer management system, but they download it to Excel. Now, once you put it in Excel, all bets are off, because you could have problems with your rows, your math, and nobody would ever know that by looking at it unless you saw that a formula was messed up. So that is a big problem we solve with our product.
Yep, and actually an easy one to be solved with their product as well. Victor, let me come back to you. Next fear. Victor, we've always done it this way.
You know what? I've heard that so many times as I moved and as I visited some of the dealerships. One assistant PM told me, I've been a system manager for 20 years. I says, well, maybe now you should look while you're still an assistant. This is a true story. This is a true story. A great guy, fantastic follower, but we need to think who set it up. Why was it set up? What was the market there? I mean, we're only as good as what we show, but we can't be as good as what it was last year because everything is changing. So if we've done it this way, you know what? You'll probably be doing this 100 years wrong. So every now and then you got to kind of step back, use that data, like Bill said. You can download the stuff, but if you don't know what you're looking for, and in some of the DMSs, they don't necessarily give you all of the dictionary items. You have to pay to get those dictionary items, right, Bill? So that's where it gets tricky.
Okay.
If you're mature and experienced, good service manager or parts manager, you create situations that you go out of the box, you look at it from a different perspective, and then you see why is this. Go back to the root cause analysis. You can't just do business the way you did last year. You're not going to make it the following year. And if you are, you're going to be losing a lot. And we've noticed that. You can't just go ahead and say, I'm going to double pop everything. Guess what? You'll do it once. You lost a customer. So you got to change from the way we've always done it, because the way we've always done it could be very wrong. And you're just practicing. What's the definition of insanity?
You're repeating that
Continue to
same
do the
behavior.
same thing. Yeah, and expect different changes, different happenings. It's not going to happen, guys. If you don't change it, it will be damaged going forward. That's why you have all these campaigns, all these updates to correct somebody's fluke.
That's right. That's right. You're so right. The next fear, my last one, Carlos, I'll come to you. AI. AI is going to take my job.
I don't believe that. I think AI is going to make your job easier. I
Easier?
mean, think about an audience. They're facing people. They're working with people. They're touching things. That's one thing. AI cannot replace the touch. Not replace what you do. It's just helping people. There are some fields where AI is going to cause some job losses, but in the field we're on, it just makes you smarter. It makes you, it helps you do some things better. So if you want to spend time around screwing around trying to optimize a submission, and we have seen many of those, you can't beat the machine, man. The machine is faster, it's better, knows more. And it's just like, remember the good old days of calculator. We did things by hand, and then the calculator came in, and just the job didn't go away. It just made you better, and you're doing better things with it. So I don't believe it's going to lead to job losses in the customer we serve. I think there will be some impact to the consulting side, because you're starting to get the knowledge into a machine, and that is going to have some effect on the consulting side, and also effect of the cost of doing business. So it's an exciting. To me, it's exciting. It's the first phone call or the engine, and it went from the flying. It's just something new has happened. You got to embrace it and use it. That to me is the way to do it.
Sarah, here we are. We're a month in already to 2026. We're at the end of January. A lot happening in our industry. Nothing probably more timely than warranty. It's a huge chunk component of the dealership's revenue. And Aclaro.ai has really put together an amazing platform to help dealers take advantage of what they are entitled to, and to do that with all the benefits of technology. And the gentlemen who are on here are very seasoned at being able to help the dealer in various nuances in getting this done, and making sure that the dealer files for everything that they are entitled to.
Ted, this is so timely, as you said, for our industry and for our audience today. If you want to learn more, Aclaro.ai at the bottom of the screen. And gentlemen, any other takeaways for our audience? How can they learn more?
You can, send us an email to sales@aclaro.ai. Go to our website, just give us a call, 1-800-2-ACLARO. So he's got the number out there. So just reach out, sales@aclaro.ai. One of us will get back to you really quickly. And we'd love to talk shop, guys. I mean, and one of the things that we really love saying, okay, give us your data. We'll tell you what we can do. I mean, you can just, if you don't believe what we can do, let me show you what we can do. And we have delivered some eye-popping numbers. I mean, our numbers are into 6 figures. We're surprised when they're only the low 6 figures. That's where we go, oh, what are we doing wrong? And it has to do with a smaller dealer, but increases 20, 30, 40, 50, 70%. So we got a couple of stories where dealer goes, we got the best number on the whole zone. So they're our biggest fans. So they got the number, they're happy to tell their friends, and it works.
The biggest impact you're going to make this year, everybody, on your profitability in service and parts is with these gentlemen here at Aclaro.ai. Speak to them, reach out to them. I'd like to invite everybody on the panel back. We're going to be doing this again in a few months at the next Fixed Ops Roundtable. I want to find out a little bit more, maybe meet with some dealers who are doing this as well, and we'll talk about some of the success stories. And you're right, some of the numbers are eye-popping, especially once a dealer gets started. So Carlos, Howard, Bill, Victor, and Jim, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Everybody reach out to Aclaro.ai, and great honor to have you gentlemen here today on the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted. And
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Been a pleasure.
The team from Aclaro here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you.